Here we are going to do question number 19 with this formula. And this formula that just requires us to have f of x, which is the same function. So f of x equals to 2x squared plus 3x minus 4. We also need to get f of a. And how do we get f of a? F parentheses a. This one is actually pretty easy because we just need to substitute all the plugging the a into all the x's, right? So instead of x, we are going to have an a. We will get 2. I see the x, but I'm going to replace the x with the a. So 2a squared plus, I have the 3x originally, f of a, plugging a into the x, so I get 3a. And then minus 4. And that's it. That's all the prep that we need to do. In comparison, earlier when we did the first formula, we need f of x. We also need f of x plus h. And this gives a little bit, we have to do some work for f of x plus h. Maybe this one's easier. Let's take a look. That was the prep. Now, get to work. I need to get f of x minus f of a over x minus a. So, f of x, I'm going to replace this with 2x squared, and let me put parentheses, 2x squared plus 3x minus 4. So this is f of x. Minus f of a. F of a is just that. Put parentheses, have 2a squared plus 3a minus 4. Everything over x minus a. So we now have to think about how do we simplify this. First, we have parentheses, and especially for the second part right here, I have a negative in front of it. So you should distribute the negative inside. So we get, the first one doesn't really matter, so 2x squared plus 3x minus 4. The first parentheses doesn't matter, so it's just the same inside. Second one, take a negative, multiply inside, and I will get negative 2a squared. Take the negative, distribute inside, I get negative 3a. Negative times negative 4, I get plus 4. Everything divided by x minus a. So on the numerator, let's take a look at what can we cancel. Unfortunately, I have 2x squared, but this is 2a squared. They are not the same term, right? X is different than a, so we cannot cancel this out. Likewise, x is different than a, so we cannot cancel this out. The only thing that we can do is negative 4 plus 4, which is a result of 0. Cancel, cancel. So, now, this is not that clear how we should do it next, right? Because on the top, I have 2x squared plus 3x minus 2a squared minus 3a. Everything divided by x minus a. So is that it or not? Well, for this kind of question, your goal is to try to simplify it so that you can cancel the denominator. This will always work. The denominator will always be cancelled if you are dealing with polynomial functions. So let me take a look. Let me bring up the questions that we did earlier with this formula. Right. So we did all the calculations, we simplified it, and then at this step, we can cancel out the h on the top and then the h on the denominator. So the denominator should always be cancelled. The denominator should always be cancelled, especially when you are dealing with a polynomial function, like 2x squared plus 3x minus 4. And this is how we are going to do it. Even though the calculation so far it's pretty simple, right? But as you can see that it's kind of tricky to figure out what's the next step. Okay. So the idea is that I actually want to collect the square terms together. So let me write the 2x squared minus 2a squared right next to each other. So I have 2x squared minus 2a squared. And then I have plus 3x, and I'll put that together with minus 3a over x minus a. And now the goal is to try to factor the top out. Try to factor out the top. Hopefully we can get a common factor on the numerator and the denominator. Then we can cancel things out. So as I said, the calculations may look pretty simple so far, but the factoring, it's a difficult part. I will do that on the side. I will just do it right here. I'll just put, look at the top. Look at the top. Technically, I should say factor out the top, but yeah, you know what I mean. So look at the top, 2x squared minus 2a squared plus 3x minus 3a. I just want to factor it. Okay, I just want to try our best to factor it. And in this case, we have 4 terms, and it's best that we should try factor by grouping first. That means that we should take a look of the first 2, and let's see what can we factor. And this is the reason why I put the x squared terms together. You'll see in a minute. After I factor out the 2, because that's the one that they have in common, I will get x squared minus a squared in the parentheses. And for the second 2 parts, the 3 is in common, so I can bring out the 3 plus 3, parentheses, have the x and then a left, x minus a left. So the good part of putting the squares together, x squared and a squared together, once we factor out the top, once we factor out the 2, inside we have x squared minus a squared. And this is exactly a difference of 2 squared. And that's exactly, if we factor it further, right? This is x plus a, x minus a, plus the rest, 3 parentheses, x minus a. Then, notice that we have the first part separated by addition with the second part. But these 2 parts, they both have the factor x minus a in common. So I can factor that out. X minus a on the outside. Then let me put a bigger size parentheses. For the first part, I will get 2 with x plus a in the parentheses. The second part, I have plus 3. So that's it. That's the factor of the top. This is what we are going to use for the top. Okay, so let me kind of put a box in here. And then continue here. Now the top is equal to that. X minus a, parentheses, 2 parentheses x plus a plus 3. Over x minus a. As we can see, the x minus a on the top and this x minus a are in common, so we can cancel them out. See? We can cancel the denominator. That's s. That's why I tell you, this is something that you need to keep in mind. It will always work if you are dealing with polynomial functions. Then we will get just this left, right? So 2 parentheses x plus a, and then have the plus 3. And don't be lazy, we should distribute the 2 inside. Right? 2 times x and 2 times a. We get 2x plus 2a plus 3. So 2x plus 2a plus 3. That's the answer that we are looking for. Okay, and as you can see that if you do it this way versus let me show that. If you do it this way, if you do it with this formula, the difficult part is the middle right here. Try to figure out how to factor out the numerator. Right, and then factor out in a way that you can cancel with the denominator. That's the hard part. You get 2x plus 2a plus 3. And earlier, when we do it with the first formula, the hard part is figure out what's f of x plus h. Right, that took some work, but the rest is more straightforward. right? You can see a lot of cancellations. And then for this, once you get to this part right here, it's relatively easy to just factor out the h and then cancel out with the denominator.